Brightmoor is a small neighborhood situated in northwest Detroit. Since the beginning of this year, 236 property crimes have been reported in the Northwestern Police District. Approximately 30% of all properties are vacant, 2% of homes are on a demolition waiting list, and over 10% are classified as dangerous. The Brightmoor area of Detroit has been disproportionately impacted by poverty, blight, unemployment, and vacant land, all of these factors contributing to the high rates of crime for the area. Reducing crime in the Brightmoor area is essential for increasing community safety and improving the neighborhood. For the purpose of this quick policy analysis, we examine property crimes in the neighborhood of Brightmoor, Detroit, specifically focusing on burglaries in the area between Schoolcraft and Linden and Lamphere and the Eliza Howell Park. 8 burglaries have occurred in this small area between the 24th of March and the 17th of April. To learn more about this area of Brightmoor, we interviewed Dr. Martin, who assists the Northwestern Police District in crime prevention and mapping.
Outer periphery of the city of Detroit, we've got a combination of really neighborhoods. Some of the blocks are nice brick homes. The blocks are largely occupied, very few vacant homes. However, if you drive a couple blocks away, you'll have a much more blighted area, wood frame homes, high vacancy rates, lots of young people kind of wandering around. So the problem in Brightmoor is not really a problem where you've got where you're looking for professional burglars. The people doing the break-ins in Brightmoor, in some areas, only live a couple blocks away. And for those people who leave their little brick home with the well-tended yard during the day and go to work, their kids are at school, the issue is those folks who live a couple blocks away who are making their way over to Brightmoor and taking advantage of a situation.
For our quick policy analysis, we chose 4 interventions that could be utilized to reduce burglaries within our target area and evaluated them with a Geller scorecard. The 4 options were no policy change, increased policing, improving the community policing initiative, and increased street lighting within our target area. We evaluated our policy options using 4 criteria: financial feasibility, political feasibility, impact, and ease of implementation. The policy options were then scored in each respective category, with a higher score indicating desirability. Final scores for each policy were calculated and policy options ranked.
Policy option 1 was increasing the amount of police officers. Though this option scored high on impact, due to the current state of the economy, it scored relatively low on financial and political feasibility. It also scored low on ease of implementation because this option would require interviewing, hiring, and training new officers. Policy option number 2 was the counterfactual, to keep status quo. Since there is no change in crime prevention efforts, this option scored low. Policy option number 3 was to increase street lighting. Street lighting scored low to moderate on financial and political feasibility. It also scored low to moderate on impact and ease of implementation, but the most important fact about this option is that when we looked at crime data in our target area, 7 out of 8 burglaries had taken place between the hours of noon and 9 p.m.
The final and highest scoring policy option is community policing. Community policing is currently being used in Detroit, but an increased effort in Brightmoor, especially our target area, could reduce burglaries. This option would have moderate financial costs, high political feasibility, moderate impact, and would be relatively easy to implement. After examining our target area, Dr. Martin suggested that this course of action could reduce property crimes.
It's a good example of where some community-oriented policing and directed patrol is needed to identify, to take a look at who's around during the daytime hours in those areas a couple blocks away from where all the burglaries are happening, and to take a look at what's going on there. It may be that it's just a couple of people or a handful of people who are responsible for dozens of break-ins. So that's the approach that I would suggest the police department in the Northwestern District take in working with the residents in Brightmoor.
As our quick policy analysis indicates, community policing is the most feasible option for reducing burglaries in our target area. A hybrid solution incorporating a targeted police presence in crime hotspots along with improved response time for emergency calls would help build the trust needed to create a successful partnership between neighborhood residents and law enforcement, and may be the best option to reduce crime in Brightmoor.
The reality is that when we look at the variety of crime problems that we face here in the city of Detroit, no one law enforcement agency can do it alone. And that's also why your involvement is critical as well. CB radio patrols, block clubs, neighborhood associations that are active, that have neighborhood watch programs, that are out there looking out not only for themselves but also for their neighbors. That's really what it's all about, and that's what's going to bring the change that we need to the city of Detroit from a crime fighting standpoint. So thank you all very much for your energy and your willingness to come here and sit in this meeting in the dark. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, but the fact that this many of you are not only here, but chose to stay despite the power failure so that you can at least hear what these folks have to offer and how you can play a role in working with them to make our streets safer. That speaks volumes about your level of commitment to your neighborhoods and to the city of Detroit.